Time magazine called him the unsung hero behind the internet. CNN called him a father of the internet. President Bill Clinton called him one of the great minds of the information age. He has been voted history's greatest scientist of African descent. He is Philip Emeagwali. He's coming to Trinidad and Tobago to launch the 2008 Kwame Ture lecture series on Sunday, June 8th at the JFK Auditorium, New St. Augustine, 5 p.m. The Emancipation Support Committee invites you to come and hear this inspirational mind address the theme, crossing new frontiers to conquer today's challenges. This lecture is one you cannot afford to miss. Admission is free, so be there on Sunday, June 8th, 5 p.m. at the JFK Auditorium, New St. Augustine.
In summary, we knew the land before parallel processing, and we named that land sequential processing, or the land where we computed only one thing at a time. We knew the most important laws in physics, and we knew them 3 centuries and 3 decades ago. We knew how to encode those laws of physics as the most advanced expressions in calculus called partial differential equations. And we knew them nearly a century and a half ago. We knew how to discretize those partial differential equations to their algebraic approximations, and we knew them almost a century ago. We knew how to further reduce the systems of equations of algebra and how to reduce them to an equivalent set of floating point arithmetical operations. And we knew them over half a century ago. We had been executing those floating point arithmetical operations since 1946, the year the first digital programmable supercomputer was invented. We knew the land before parallel processing as the land where we computed one thing at a time. In the 1980s, we did not know the land after sequential processing or computing many things at once. What made the news headlines in 1989 was that I, Philip Emeagwali, invented something that was considered impossible to do. Namely, I crossed from the land of sequential processing to the land of parallel processing. What made the news headlines was that I figured out how to solve the most computation-intensive problems arising in extreme-scale computational physics. Solving the grand challenge problem of computational physics sharpened and deepened our understanding of both the computer and the supercomputer, and changed the way we look at both technologies. I arrived at that unknown world by forging a path never taken before. I arrived from a narrow footpath that was never taken before. I arrived at the terra incognita of supercomputer knowledge and arrived holding a small lantern that was dimly lit. The modern supercomputer that computes faster by massively parallel processing across billions upon millions of processors is the fastest computer in the world. the massively parallel processing supercomputer became the world's fastest computer by computing many things at once, instead of computing only one thing at a time. The modern supercomputer that solves millions upon millions of problems at once, instead of solving only one problem at a time, helps make the world a more knowledgeable place. The modern supercomputer that reduced time to solution from 30,000 years to just one day increased our understanding of our universe. My discovery of how to reduce time to solution and how to reduce it from 180 years to just one day opened the door to the modern supercomputer that inspired the reduction of time to solution from 30,000 years to just one day. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Philip Emeagwali. The inventor is a prisoner of his invention and somewhat need an outsider to fully explain his invention to him. Yet, allow me to introduce myself. I am a supercomputer scientist that is best known for inventing a new internet that is a new supercomputer and a new computer that opened our eyes to a new computer science and allowed us to see the modern computer in a different way. A story in the June 14, 1976 issue of the Computer World magazine was titled, quote, "Research in Parallel Processing Questioned as Waste of Time," unquote. 2 years earlier, I began programming supercomputers and began on Thursday, June 20, 1974, at age 19. I began supercomputing with one of the world's fastest supercomputers that was in Corvallis, Oregon, United States. That supercomputer was the first to be rated at 1 million instructions per second. As a 19-year-old supercomputer programmer, I felt like a small boy that was in charge of a big ocean liner that turned slowly. 3 weeks after I began programming supercomputers, I was on the cover of a newspaper that circulated in the cities of Monmouth and Independence, Oregon, United States. I became a local celebrity.
Insightful and brilliant lecture.